This is an interesting one. So I got this all assembled, the brush holder all put together, everything set, and then when I went to install it, I pulled it off, but I put it back on just so I can make the video. You see that this is flush on this side, it's flush on that side, it's flush on that side. But over here, it's not. It's actually, I try to put them in, it's about half a hole off. Maybe it's a quarter of a hole. And I tried prying on it, tried starting it with putting a bit of a lead in on the screw, and all I did was almost strip them out. I tried a couple different patterns of holes, or different ways of torquing it up, etc. So I don't know if this is a function of, this is one of John's lightened one. This came off of this motor, so I just took because I know that because I didn't unbolt the gearbox adapter. But so I'm gonna take it off again. I'll try and see if I can pry that end out. I don't know if because of its lightened, maybe it did tweaked a little bit, and that's what's causing the issue. I have plenty of holders or bell housings, but or end bells, but I just got done doing everything to that one, so I'd rather not have to take it all apart and do it again. But we'll see. All right. Well, I took it off, put it on the bench, and you can see why it doesn't fit now. It's a crack. Goes right through there. Comes down. You can see it right along there. I can get a fingernail on it. It actually comes all the way across, comes back here, and comes down right there. So yeah, this definitely deformed at some point of it. My guess is it's actually not under necessarily the torque of the motor, but actually more the weight. So let's come over here. So I'm going to pull this one off, pull this all apart, swap this with a standard bell. So all the weight of the motor hangs off of here. So that bending load's going down. And curious, I don't know if I'll see any other ones, but so all that weight, it might not even happen during the motor. Just we strapped it down and just it spent 20 hours bouncing in the back of a truck, supported, but it's a lot of weight. And this is just base cast aluminum. I don't know, like E356 or A356. It's been a while since I've done aluminum castings, which is generally fairly high porosity. It's nothing close to the strength of billet or even obviously not forged aluminum. So generally when you do castings, you assume it's about a fifth the strength of billet aluminum because you don't know what's in there. But anyway, glad I found it now. Wish I would have found it before I did all of that, but I'll show you what I did. So, brush holder, I left the brass bare there. That gives another current path. That's the way it's originally designed. I still did the outside of the brush holders there. It'd probably be, I don't know, there's a couple things, I see a couple different trains of thought with the super brushes here that have giant leads and you're passing all the current through here. You probably don't need the current path through the brush holder. It's probably best that you don't. In which case you go to a non-conductive brush holder. If I was so inclined, I'd have tempted to design something up and print it out of Ultem, which would probably handle the temperature levels. And I'm actually realizing you can do some really trick stuff, like you could actually print the springs in and do a bunch of cool funky stuff there, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I'm just going to get this done. But I don't know, maybe whenever I have free time, I'll investigate doing something like that. Or if someone watching this video has a lot of free time and they want to design up one, it'd be interesting to see. It'd be pretty easy to do, actually. It's like none of this stuff's complicated geometry, and you could start here, and then you could print up. Obviously, you'd have to do some support in there, but I think if you did it out of Ultem, you could do it pretty slick. The other thing too is if you wanted to, you could go to a 8 brush setup and then do twice the voltage. But anyway, so anyway, I did the brush holder separate from the housing, and I had painted the screws. Again, I'll take all that apart now. But back to why I didn't paint on the inside. So I could paint in there, and then that forces all the current hopefully to come through here. A bit worried on some of the other brush holders that I showed, that the chances of it getting stuck in there, that this paint getting hot, and then it could stick in place, not necessarily during the race, but if you cycle it and then come back down, and that paint, that lacquer, cools back off and then solidifies, it could cause the brushes to stick. So which was a failure mode that I saw on the motors from last time. Not due to it sticking to the sidewall, but again, this silicone or phenolic, feels rigid. I think it's looks like a piece of phenolic that's stuck in there. You can see it's glued on, and it got hot, it slid over. Oh, where that brush is? That brush is here somewhere. But anyway, so I would say it's a bit overdoing it on the lightning of the bell housing here, the end bell, and wouldn't recommend it. No offense, John. It worked, but you can see it really well in there. It cracked, and that was, I was trying to get this bolt to line back up, but so here I've taken off the adapter to go to the motor mount. You can see normally it's a full round, and so these were cut back for lightning, but that means that all that weight has to come around this corner. It's a nice stress concentration, and you can actually see crack goes all the way across here, goes down there, down there, and then as you can see, I had painted this, and it flexes so much when I tried to put it on. You can see the crack in the dielectric paint. I bet you I could hit this with a hammer and it would just break off. There's a thought. So I got it clamped in the vise there. Oh, yep. That's all it took. That was about, I don't know, 10, 20 pounds of force. Well, that was interesting. Again, I found that crack while I was doing the assembly. Definitely glad I didn't find that crack. Anyway, so that's typical. Get that to focus. That's typical casting. You can. So this is the broken I was just showing you again. These have been lightened compared to the stock motor. John had cut out this area here to save some weight, and unfortunately, yeah, it led to the crack here. So I'm going to replace it with these, which I've already done here with this motor. So I've got one of the bells from one of the other motors that I killed, but the issue I'm running into is that the motors, these bells have been modified to take the 6-bolt pattern, because this 6-bolt pattern here was made to match the transwarps. So I need to put this on there, but I've only got, I don't have the right bolt pattern. I need to have this very, very accurate. So thought is I was going to take this back apart again, and then take it over to a CNC and drill it, because I really need to have the whole pattern aligned to the shaft very, very accurately, although there's no room for slop in there. So if I can't just hand lay that out. I contemplated a few methods, but none of them were good ideas. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is, this is actually one of the motor couplers that was in the box of goodies that John gave me. I just, son here took the plate off, And you can see it's already got a bunch of different hole patterns in it. I've written drill guide on it because I'm going to take this over to my CNC at work and drill that 6-bolt pattern from that onto here. And I can get away with that because the center bore here was very, very tightly machined. There is zero slop. It's actually a little bit of an interference fit. So then I can line this up, clock it exactly where I need to be, and I will drill those holes because I need it. I need to do it not only for this guy, but also for this one. So I'm just gonna make a simple drill guide out of this, and then drill and tap and put it on.